Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's episode of the Four Corners Podcast. My name is John, and I am your host, who is back to fill the shoes that he messed up last week by not coming to the show.
I took care of it.
The most.
And I spoke out of turn.
You did speak out of turn.
I'm sorry.
You do that kind of every episode, though.
It's my thing.
But I'm back with this week, and my throat hurts really bad. So if I'm not as talkative or whatever, it's fine. But I still did the intro better than Damien.
John, shut the heck up, man.
Wow, it sounds like a middle school insult.
Them's fighting words.
Nick,
I'm sorry.
how are you, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. I'm glad to hear.
I miss Nick as the host.
And then,
Me too.
It's been a long week without him.
dang, these levels are awful, and I don't know why. They were set properly when I left, but it's okay. And we are joined by our temporary fourth corner until we get our boy back. Belly,
I don't know what you want me to say to that.
how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
My throat hurts really bad.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm really,
Suck it up.
I'm really upset because I don't want to be sick.
How's that
when
Wawa?
New Orleans comes around. It's good. It feels good on my throat because I put the Ducky ice cubes in there. Kelly's boyfriend Tyler bought a Ducky ice cube maker.
He's pretty cute.
He is pretty
It's
cute.
for $2. $2 well spent. It's too many dollars. Too
But
many cooks.
We'll see how this episode goes. We figured out that it really isn't a ton to talk about, and I believe it's because it is 2 weeks away from WrestleMania, so it's not like all of our stories are in place. We're seeing exactly where they're going, and we're not a week away, so they're gonna save all their big stuff for next week. So there really isn't a whole lot of big developments. There were some tonight on SmackDown, and Raw really wasn't all that great. But one of the bigger questions that we had going into tonight, so we found out that thanks to the attack on Shane McMahon by Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, a very real infection. Are you guys okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. You wanna show the class?
No, it's okay.
Why?
It's okay.
Why? Showing memes during the podcast. You are expelled from the podcast, Kelly. You come on for one show.
And we're looking at me.
And
Look at Lightning
I've
McQueen with
been
big
on
old teeth.
The show for more than one.
Doesn't matter! So, as I was saying, there was a very real injury to Shane McMahon. He was hospitalized with
Diverticulitis.
diverticulitis.
Thanks, Nick.
That's the,
Iridocyclitis.
Iridocyclitis. But it's the same injury that Brock Lesnar had, the same infection. It infects your colon, your digestive system, and it's the one that caused him to retire for a little bit. So it is a very serious thing.
Who the UFC?
What?
It's what made him retire from the UFC. Brock.
Yeah, but didn't he go back to the UFC?
Yeah, but then he did drugs.
Right, so
Yeah.
it only put him on the shelf for a little bit. But once he gets that under control, then he is also going to have surgery for an umbilical hernia.
It's a big deal.
Poor
That just
guy.
sounds awful.
Yeah, poor guy. Either of those things by itself is bad enough, but together it just kind of sucks. But as we found out, I don't know if he's a trooper or if they're working it, or I don't know if it's a work because it was reported by Dave Meltzer that this is actually not a part of the storyline, that this actually happened. So it looks like Shane McMahon is going to be a trooper because, one of the questions going into tonight's podcast was going to be, well, what does that mean for Daniel Bryan? Because it was going to look like Shane McMahon was going to miss WrestleMania, which I wouldn't have been too terribly upset about. But we found out tonight that it still is going to be Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. What are you guys' thoughts on that? That's usually a cue for you guys this week.
I'm surprised that they already announced that Shane's going to be in the match, even if he's what was it that he said on SmackDown, that he said that he's confident that Shane will be healthy by Mania.
Yeah.
He'll be
In less than 2
willing and
weeks.
able.
But what if he's not? Then what's going to go down?
I don't know.
Well,
That's what makes me think that it's more of a work than anything, and I think maybe Meltz might have been worked a little bit by his inside sources, just because I don't think they would put Shane McMahon in that position, he'll be there, he'll be healthy enough, and then literally say it on TV that I have confidence that he'll be healthy enough because then that shows a weakness in the McMahon bloodline.
Yeah.
And there are no signs of weakness there.
They beat God.
They literally
There's
beat
no
God in
God.
a match. Yeah.
Shane was probably like, no, book it.
Yeah.
Book it.
Honestly, if that is the case and he still is, because to be fair, it is 2 weeks away, but this isn't a 2-week injury. This is a way longer than 2-week injury, because it is going to require surgery. So I don't know if they're just going to do the match and then have the surgery after, like, because I know that you can still do stuff with a hernia, because I know people that don't, like, that have hernias and don't get them done for years after. And if that's the case, honestly, that's a testament to Shane McMahon's, like, internal fortitude. Like,
But then, like, why would you book that, like, from a creative sense? With Shane's not a great wrestler. Shane is in matches to do the big spots and to get the good pops for it.
Yeah.
He can't do those big spots if he has a hernia and diverticulitis. So you're just tossing him in just to have him there.
yeah,
I'm not a
I
fan
think
of that.
I think that's what it is.
I'm not a fan of that at all.
I mean, if he can survive falling off a chamber or Hell in a Cell, and then surviving a helicopter crash, he can survive just a couple bumps with a hernia.
And to be fair, it also is a tag match, and since this is Daniel Bryan's return, he's going to be the main.
Most of the match.
I was going to say
Yeah.
he's going to be the main.
Attraction?
He's not
I
Donnie
wouldn't say
Idol.
traction,
Event.
but rip. He's gonna be the main partner in that partnership, working the tag match. So I guess that's one thing, and I'm still gonna assume, because Shane McMahon essentially is just a stunt double for WWE.
Yes.
And he's always been that way, and so I wouldn't be surprised if he still does pull out something big. I don't know what it could be, because last Mania when against AJ Styles, the ref bump literally was like 10 minutes. It was ridiculous.
Just so you get the trash can out.
Just
and get it
Great.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Another injury that's not as pertinent, because we did kind of find out what happened there, was Charlotte was announced that she wasn't going to be on this week's episode of SmackDown. She also wasn't going to be in the Mixed Match Challenge, which they held a poll to see who should take her place, which was Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
Becky
winner?
Lynch, Lana, or Carmella.
Yeah, and then Becky Lynch won that one.
Somehow.
Obviously.
Somehow. I'm still surprised that they're not doing anything with her, and that'd be dope if she won the women's battle royal and actually do something with her.
Yeah, if that actually meant that
If that was
she
possible.
would get, title opportunity, or
That cool trophy.
that looks
They-
like a...
I know
like
that
a
we make fun
uterus.
of it, but they still have time to turn that into something that actually does mean something. And I think with the people that are competing this year, they could turn like the battle royals at the beginning to where they mean something. Because this is only like what, the 4th or the 5th annual?
First one was 30, so 4th. Right?
Yeah,
30.
because Big
Fifth.
Show's won it,
5th.
Baron Corbin won it, Mojo. Yeah, so this is 5th. They still have time to turn it around to where like it actually means something. I personally think. But yeah, Charlotte had, according to, I don't remember who was the guy, The Observer, she had a minor dental surgery, and she'll be back. I mean, I'm assuming she'll be back next week to do the go home angle.
Yeah, she
Like-
said on Twitter that she would be back next week, so I'm assuming it's nothing too bad.
I was gonna say I'm hoping that this doesn't affect her WrestleMania match, because that's a barn burner and could be one of the matches of the night. Do you guys think that?
Easily, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't you say that she got it done last Wednesday?
Yeah, it was.
That was
should
probably
be
an
here,
effort to
yeah.
get ready for this week's SmackDown,
Yeah.
but she just wasn't ready in time.
Gonna say I was gonna ask you guys if you think that the surgery might impact the match at all.
No.
I don't think
I
so.
doubt it.
She's tough anyways. She wouldn't let it cause a problem.
You're right. You were right. I mean I hope it doesn't, because that match does have a chance, especially with the full steam of the women's revolution going on.
It's evolution now.
Evolution, whatever, same thing. Stephanie McMahon. But those are some of the things that happened tonight. Some other things that we were able to see tonight were a lot of the new match developments that we're getting. So luckily Rusev is going to be thrown into the U.S. Championship match, because without Rusev, without that part of the match, that was going to be the match I would be least excited to see.
Mm-hmm.
That was
throughout the
probably the
entire-
match I was going to go use the restroom at.
Yeah. That was a bathroom
I
break
mean,
match.
even though Randy's in there and he's my boy, it just wasn't interesting to me.
Dude, it's Bobby Roode and Jinder Mahal. I don't think... I know that it's WrestleMania, but I don't know if Randy Orton cares enough. And when Randy Orton doesn't care, it's not a good match.
He puts on terrible matches.
It's not a good match. He's so petty when he gets in the ring and when he doesn't care about a match.
He always has been.
He always has been. And I hope... Sincerely... Because Rusev was my pick for the armbar. Because I really didn't think he would have a spot on the card. Luckily, he does. And I hope he wins it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Do you guys think that WWE will pull the trigger on Rusev finally?
No. I wanted them to, but I don't think they will.
Yeah, it's same thing with Nick. I've been talking about Rusev for several weeks. I'd like to see him have a title, and the fans love him, but WWE sucks at doing that. They know that fans love him, but they won't pull the trigger until months and months farther down the line.
Well, I hope, because we were having this conversation, I think this was Saturday, wasn't it? When I was texting in the group chat about how the tides are turning, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I went to the alcohol store and...
the alcohol store.
The alcohol store.
Amazing.
And I was talking to the guy about WrestleMania, and he asked me, he's like... This was verbatim. He said, "Is Ronda Rousey fighting there?"
Is she fighting?
I was like, "She's wrestling there. She's not necessarily fighting. She's wrestling there." But I think that's a testament to WWE slowly becoming into the mainstream. And so I really hope that with the tides turning over to Triple H, because it looks like they are going to go down that route.
When Vince dies.
Yeah. I don't even know
if Vince dies.
I don't.
I don't know.
They'll just do the Walt Disney thing.
Honestly.
They'll freeze him. Or if Vince lives long enough to where they can store your
keep your brain.
Yeah, your cerebral cortex and put it into AI.
Black Mirror.
Yeah. I honestly think it'll happen before Vince dies.
You really think so?
I really think so.
I think it's literally prior from his cold dead hands. I don't think I think he has too much of an ego to hand the entire thing over to Triple H.
I think depending on the success of the XFL.
True, but
even with that, he said that he's not going to be involved a whole lot with that.
Yeah.
I mean,
once it takes off, he's like, "Oh yeah, that's my project." Yeah,
I was gonna say, well, look at what he said at the beginning. He said, "This is not going to affect my daily, my day-to-day WWE thing," and then he gave 205 Live over to Triple H.
Yeah.
So it's like, I know that it's just 205 Live and it's literally scraping the bottom of the barrel, but I mean, look at 205 Live now.
It's great.
And
it's
we've
really good.
We've been talking about how slowly Vince McMahon seems to be releasing his grip, whether it's referencing, because before, even a few years ago, Vince McMahon would never ever let someone else talk about someone else's promotion. They're so tunnel visioned, especially on commentary, talking about how oh yeah, they're world champions. They don't say they were champions in New Japan. They talk a lot about AJ Styles and Shinsuke. It's a first time match for them, even though they've obviously had that Wrestle Kingdom match. And I think one of the bigger signs of Vince McMahon releasing his grip was the Matt Hardy, the Ultimate Deletion last week. Did you guys ever think that Vince McMahon would ever allow something like that, especially when it was homemade, grown in Impact?
No, especially not in the main event of Monday Night Raw. On the road to WrestleMania. No chance.
And I don't know what the main event means a whole lot anymore on Raw. It really doesn't mean a whole lot, but what are you... Oh. We gotta stop watching stuff.
Becky Lynch and Bobby Roode are advancing.
Even though Bobby looks hurt.
Nice.
But yeah, that's one of the signs that I think that Vince McMahon... He'll never be fully away from it, and I wouldn't expect him to. Honestly, I don't think I would want him to. This is his baby, and I respect him enough to where, this is him. This is his whole legacy, is this business, is this company that he's built. So I wouldn't expect him to, and I respect him enough to understand that. But at the same time, I think that he will slowly go into the back. I don't want to necessarily say he'll enjoy retirement, because Vince McMahon, I don't know if you guys have heard stories about him, but he literally works
he's a workaholic.
He works 16 hours a day.
That's why I do not think he will hand it over. To me, I think Triple H will have to wait it out, and even maybe he gives it to Stephanie as like the majority to her, and Triple H can work SmackDown or something like that. But there's no way he gives the entire thing to Triple H until he's dead.
I wonder how much control Triple H. I wonder how much control H has over Stephanie.
What?
I'm wondering because I know that they have two very clashing personalities.
Yeah.
And they are both like very because I mean Triple H is a politician behind the scenes. Like he's done so many times. I mean what do they call that 2002 2003 run? The Reign of Terror.
Good Lord.
That was all Triple H. Like he had all of that, and that was even after Triple H ruined the image of kayfabe with the click, like the curtain call. So it's like you see how much power he has backstage and how much of a politician he is. I just wonder how much power he would have over Stephanie.
I mean, he drugged her and took her to Vegas to get married, so I mean, he has plenty of power, I guess.
Yeah,
That's
a
true.
lot of power.
That's true.
Oh, R.I.P.
Or I wonder if they would just work as a unit to collaborate on something and make it good. You know what I mean?
That's like the more plausible thing. Because I don't think Stephanie would just willingly give up her portion. But, like, if they somehow came together, because, I mean, she has sometimes okay ideas.
Yeah, she's not like a brainless idiot or anything.
Yeah.
She's just Vince's daughter for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. What else did I have on my little notes here? Oh, yeah. I think this is, speaking of Vince and his ego, I think this is one of the bigger, the bigger things to his ego is the greatest Royal Rumble that's coming up. It looks like he's trying to put on, like, a WrestleMania style card, like...
Less than a month after WrestleMania.
Exactly. Yep. It's just him swinging around his big old grapefruits. And some of the things, because we all knew that it was going to be the 50-man Royal Rumble. You remember the last time they tried to bump it up from 30?
Go to 40,
and it didn't work?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't see them having a bad Royal Rumble. I think they have finally figured out, again, how to work a Royal Rumble because... as much as a Royal Rumble with Roman Reigns entering 30 and then Randy Orton winning last year, it was still a good Rumble. And then the Rumble this year was awesome.
Yeah.
One of my favorite Rumbles I've ever seen. The Women's Rumble is also one of my favorite Rumbles I've ever seen. So I think that they could put on a good Rumble. But they did release some of the card. So we are seeing Cena and Triple H.
I'm wondering, are they going to put a storyline with that? Or are they just going to...
Just put
Probably not.
Two of the most
Probably
household
not.
names
I was wondering
in a foreign place.
Like, let's just have a friendly competition match.
Well, didn't Triple H tweet, like, no suits, no ties or anything? So I don't know if they
He's like, no Hollywood, no suits, we're going at it.
So I don't know if they are going to go with a storyline on that because...
On any of these matches, honestly. Are they going to build this as a pay-per-view, or are they just going to...
Yeah, are they going to start building these matches after WrestleMania? Like, with these...
I'm really curious. I don't know.
Because
I hope so, because there would be no point to it.
Especially with those 7
title matches.
Title matches. There needs to be some sort of storyline,
and also, what are they going to do? Like, is it going to just be bragging rights, or are they going to earn another title shot?
How about you?
For the actual Rumble?
The
It's got to be a title shot.
It has to be.
A title shot of the person's choosing, or the like their brand?
Oh, since 50 men,
it would
probably just of their choosing, right?
It would have to be of their choosing because look at what Asuka did. Like, it was of her choosing. Like, they would make no sense.
And Shinsuke, too, got to choose.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
Anyway, the card.
I had another question about the Rumble, and I completely forgot it. Are they
about the placement?
Are they going to... What? No, that'll main event. The 50-man
Yeah, sure.
No doubt. No doubt in my mind.
Never mind.
Are they going to... What was I going to... I don't even remember what I was going to ask.
Are they going to have to, like, use wrestlers twice in one show?
No, that wasn't it. It was something else. I mean,
we've asked that before,
Yeah,
too.
I guarantee they will. They don't have 50 guys.
I'm assuming they will. it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that. But I am all for WWE doing big matches, like, outside of their regular pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why they don't... just because, like, the weekly shows feel like they drag on and they don't mean much, and then it comes pay-per-view time. So it's like... It's kind of cool to see something big. But one of the bigger controversies with this Greatest Royal Rumble is that it is in Saudi Arabia. And if you know anything about Saudi Arabia...
It sucks.
It sucks. I don't want to say
place.
that. That's I don't want to necessarily say that.
What
What if we have
doesn't talk
Saudi Arabia listeners?
Well, tell them to quit throwing acid on girls' faces for the hell of it. It sucks.
Yeah,
it's a
does
terrible
suck.
place.
You're right.
We're gonna get attacked.
Good.
Above the charge.
I'm trying to. This is my commentary role speaking in. Like when I know that something's
Oh
going
my
wrong,
gosh.
but I try to like. Yeah, so Saudi Arabia is not nice to the women. They are not nice to
That's
the
an
ladies.
understatement.
Don't respect women.
They don't respect women. They
You're
are.
late on this.
Yeah, they're-
missed 2017.
I was gonna say they are late on the memes. But with that, no respect. With that, they can't drive. Well, no, they just got the right to drive, didn't they?
Did they?
I believe
Yeah.
so.
I think
Dope.
so.
Nice.
Yeah.
They just got the right to. Well,
Great.
I mean, yeah, we're like 100 years behind, but it's fine.
At least.
So because of that, there's going to be no women's matches on the card.
Mm-hmm.
In the dead thick of the women's evolution.
With Ronda Rousey and with Asuka and all these big matches going on at Mania.
With I mean, a couple of years ago, I know that we had this discussion, and I know that like it doesn't seem like it'll happen at all. But like we were talking about like maybe Asuka and Charlotte could main event. Like a couple of years ago, we wouldn't have asked like
No.
we maybe would have asked like, oh, maybe 15 years later, like
Yeah.
maybe we'll have a women's main event. But like we're actually talking about if something could plausibly main event WrestleMania as a women's match, and we're getting a pay-per-view, a big event where women can't even be on the card.
Yeah.
Which is why, like I was saying, I think that they should do, or they might do, an all women's, like, just a house show, like back in the United States. Because now that you have Ronda Rousey, you have a way to sell tickets with or without the men. Mm-hmm. Not to discount Charlotte and all the other girls and all the ones that have been carrying the division between the beginning of the Revolution to now. But you have Ronda, so you have a main event caliber person that can sell tickets to the casual fans. And then the rest of the card will get the hardcore fans, obviously. So I think it's possible for them to do that house show.
It would be
of just
smart
women.
for them
Yeah.
to do it.
It'd be great
I
for
hope so.
publicity.
Like at the exact same time or like a different day?
No, like a couple months later.
Or,
Oh,
I mean, you can do it as the same day because like that's happening in the afternoon.
Oh yeah, you could.
in our time, so they can do it that night. All
Yeah.
women's, whatever.
I was gonna say I don't know if they are gonna want to compete with themselves.
If the house show is not in the afternoon, then they're fine. Because it starts at 12 our time. The Greatest Royal Rumble does.
I get that, and I mean I do hope that they do something like that to show, you know what I mean, that they aren't just trying to sell the women's revolution. I know that they're mainly trying to do it to get women on board with wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like, why even in the first place? I know that they have to build their market outside of the United States. Why would you go to a country in the very smack dab in the middle of this evolution?
I'm guessing they're getting a lot of money.
It's
Because
Yeah.
Vince doesn't turn down money.
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Ethics to the wall. If Vince gets money, he's gonna put on a show.
Did you see the way that the press releasing from WWE was talking about the leader of?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
It was like His Majesty. Like they were using all the words that like Saudi
Glorious
Arabians
ruler.
would use. Yeah, like his glorious ruler or something like that. Like
Gosh.
yeah, and it was like, oh boy, who
Oh
wrote
boy.
this? Oh boy. So like it's kind of disheartening to see that. It's like they're showing that money is way over their importance level than the women are.
Yeah. I do know that women and like young girls, children are able to go physically see the show in Saudi Arabia,
Nice.
which hasn't been a thing before to my knowledge. So while that's like a very small portion, like it's still something.
Basic human rights.
But-
Dope. Hell
Dope,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Civil rights.
Oh my gosh.
Totally rad.
Yeah. It's just it's disgusting to see. I mean, I feel bad for you, Kelly, because like I'm a white male, so like I don't get any of this. Like I understand my privilege. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? and like I feel bad.
Check your privilege.
It just
Gosh,
shit.
so much privilege in this room.
I know. So I wonder if this is a good place. This is gonna be a great segue.
Oh my
and I
gosh.
need to stop introducing my great segues with this is gonna be a
great
great
segue.
segue. I wonder with this Royal Rumble if this is a good chance for WWE to call up a bunch of people. Because mainly they do that the Raw after Mania.
Yeah.
That's when all the big people come. So I wonder if they are going to bring up, like, have these surprise entrants within the Royal Rumble. And then I was going to ask you guys, like I've already asked you earlier, who do you think that NXT will bring up to the main roster? Kelly grabs her notebook. Who do you think that
prepared.
WWE plans on bringing up from NXT? And then transition kind of into... Because we're going to see another Superstar Shakeup.
Yes.
Or whatever they call it. Who do you think will switch sides and why?
Which question do you want first?
We'll go with the call-ups. Because
Call-ups.
that transitions well.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have notes, so I'm going to let Kelly go off.
I mean, I can go if you
Or
want.
Damien. Damien's got notes.
Check your privilege.
Okay,
Yeah,
Kelly,
back
you
off.
go. Women first.
So do you want this to be like I say someone and then we discuss it, or kind of bounce off one another?
Well, how many do you have?
6.
Oh, you can just say them all.
Okay.
I think that's fine.
So my call-up list is the iconic duo, Johnny Gargano, Aleister Black, Ember Moon, Authors of Pain, and maybe Sanity. I put maybe with like 4 question marks.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with any of that.
I don't disagree with any of those.
For sure, the iconic duo have to be coming up because they've been off TV forever now.
They just
off
got
NXT.
new look.
They got new something, and then also, who else did you say? I don't know about Johnny. I would love to see Johnny get called up because he's still pretty young, despite the fact that he's been wrestling forever.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it'd be great to see him get a decent career arc,
And it's like,
and to see him versus Daniel Bryan.
and we
AJ
know
Styles.
that he just attacked Ciampa, whatever. That could be a takeover, and then Monday after Mania, just be like, hey, oh well, wait, no,
I don't think they
have
would
him-
take him to Raw.
No, I
with SmackDown.
lied. I put him with SmackDown.
Yeah.
So Tuesday after Mania, just
Who was that?
Because
Johnny.
Oh,
along with that, I'm hoping that, like, speaking with Johnny, I don't want them to carry out this feud with Ciampa on NXT any longer because I don't want it to overshadow the championship. So bring both of them up or bring one of them up to the main roster and then just continue it or move on from it.
Yep.
There's not much else you can do after this unsanctioned match.
Yep.
Well, Damien, you go.
I have Drew McIntyre to Raw,
Oh yeah.
Authors of
He's too
Pain
bad.
to SmackDown. I have Velveteen Dream to SmackDown just because I want to see that. He's very entertaining to me. From when I was watching him on Tough Enough to where he is at now, because he's like when he was on Tough Enough, he was like the only one who knew
The only one that
anything
cared.
about wrestling.
Yeah.
Mandy Rose was on there and she knew nothing. She was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, and her growth in the company is exciting to see. But he was a diehard wrestling fan, and to see his character shape into what it is now, and I think it would be great to see him come up. And then I have Ember Moon coming
Yes.
up. I want to say SmackDown probably because it
Yes.
would be Asuka and
Asuka.
Ember Moon.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. Nick, do you have any, or do you want me to go?
They covered pretty much everything I would say, honestly.
Yeah. Maybe if I would. Well, first of all, I think I'm gonna disagree with Velveteen Dream. I don't think he's ready for the main roster.
Yeah,
I was gonna say that.
I think
Fair
he's
point.
young enough to stick around in NXT.
Oh,
he
for
doesn't
sure.
have to, but I think he's young enough to
It's
do
one of
it.
those
It'll be
situations
fine.
where it's not like, oh, we gotta bring him up. Like we don't
Yeah.
know if he's ready or not, but we got to. It's
Yeah.
like he's what, our age?
He's like
23?
22, I think.
20,
yeah,
22.
Yeah.
So he has time. But a lot of with these call-ups, it begs the question again that it's like that it concerns me if they bring him up. Uh-oh. There are stuff
Cops are
going on.
outside. Look out.
Cops, look out! I got yeah.
Bad
I'm
boys, bad boys.
I'm going to jail.
What you got?
I lost my train of thought, but with
Going to
these
jail.
when when it comes to this time to bring up people from NXT, it concerns me because it goes back to the ideal that I want NXT to be a third brand.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are people who serve better purposes on NXT. So, like, I love Gargano. I love Aleister Black. I love Velveteen Dream. I love all these guys, but I know that as soon as they go up to the main roster, they're not going to carry that same heat that they had in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like NXT is for those indie guys. Like, it is wrestling. It's not sports entertainment. It's wrestling. And it's like, I know as soon as they bring up Aleister Black, he's not gonna fare nearly as well.
I don't know. I feel like of all the call-ups, I think Aleister could keep his.
Yeah, I think he could hold his own.
Depending on how he's booked. That's the
That's
key.
the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we're finally getting Shinsuke back up to snuff. Like, and we're not even close to where he was at in NXT.
Yeah.
Not even 100% close. Look at Sami Zayn. Like,
Look at Finn Balor.
Look at Finn
Samoa
Balor.
Joe. Yeah.
And I know that it's hard to say that with Finn Balor because like injury and like that literally derailed him, and he was going to be the Universal Champion, and that literally just stopped him in his tracks.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since then, it's like they've had all these other things that they're trying to do with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar that it's just like you can't do anything with Finn Balor.
Yeah.
And so it's like NXT is for those guys, the Finn Balors, the Seth Rollins, like all those people who are the workhorses that like put on wrestling matches, and it's not sports entertainment matches. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look like you were going to say something, and I felt like I interrupted you.
No, I was just going to say my whole reasoning with Johnny Gargano was because of, his stipulation where he leaves NXT. No, unless they rehire him, there's not really a place for him to go. And I would hate to see him leave WWE as a whole because, like, he's one of the most talented guys on NXT. So if they brought him to SmackDown, there's a potential that he would actually get to shine. But then it's like, you look at guys like Ty Dillinger or anyone else that...
I mean, it's hard to compare Ty and Gargano because, like, Gargano is so immensely over. Like, he's one of the purest baby faces that could possibly
No, I know,
be.
but I'm saying, like, we saw how so many people were excited for Ty Dillinger, and, like, they started to do something with him, and then now he's not even on SmackDown. So, like...
And I'm not
a
disagreeing
fear.
with Gargano. I honestly think they will bring him up because, like you said, with the NXT, like, he technically doesn't have anywhere to go. And I would love to see Gargano and Daniel Bryan tear it up.
Yeah.
What I'm afraid of, though, is they're going to throw him on 205 Live.
Yes.
And he's going to
Yeah.
get buried on that show.
The thing is, that used to be a problem a couple of weeks ago. Maybe a couple months ago. That used to be a thing where I'm like, man, I'm scared of them throwing him on 205 Live. Honestly, the way that they're going with 205 Live, if they continue how good it's been...
That's the big if there. If
You
they
got-
continue.
Yeah, but they...
It's Triple H, though. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
concerned with it anymore.
But for all we know, if there's a big success around this tournament, and then after Mania, Vince says, "Oh yeah, this is my show now. I'm going to book it again," and then it's going to go back to crazy.
That could happen.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not putting my chips on 205.
But it was
Live
nice
yet.
seeing the Cruiserweights on Raw this week,
Yeah.
though.
It was just a tag match, but it was a good way to kind of continue their storyline.
Yeah.
And with 205 Live, if they do continue with Triple H's reign, which honestly I think they would. Like I don't think Vince McMahon is that stupid, because that's one thing off of his plate that he doesn't have to do anymore.
Yeah.
It's not on cable TV. Like, oh well, you know what I mean. He can book the matches on Raw. Like he can handle the cruiserweight stuff on Raw, but like, just leave 205 Live to Triple H. And if they do keep it with Triple H, they're gonna have more stars coming on 205 Live.
Which is why, who else is coming up from NXT right now? That's kind of a cruiserweight. They
Murphy.
have Dream, Murphy,
Oh yeah,
Tyler Bate. They have Roderick Strong now.
yeah. They're gonna have these big name stars,
Yeah.
and I think Gargano is pure white meat babyface. You know what I mean? Absolutely, like another generation Daniel Bryan. Like
Oh yeah.
one of those situations. Incredible. Like I think he'd be a great asset to 205 Live, and to see him chasing for the cruiserweight championship, I think would be dope.
As long as he doesn't get stuck in that purgatory that Neville was stuck in, where you get to the pinnacle of it and you just hold it until you want to quit. I hope he doesn't hit that wall.
I don't know. Yeah, I think Triple H gives superstars a spotlight to shine.
Yeah.
If you have the goods, like if you are good enough to shine in a spotlight, he gives you that chance.
Mm.
So, I don't know. But were there any more that we didn't touch on? I was thinking maybe Lars Sullivan.
I'm not a big Lars.
You know what I would
Sullivan guy.
love to see? I would love to see Braun Strowman and Lars Sullivan.
I knew you were gonna say
together.
that.
Yeah.
Tell me that wouldn't be great.
It'd be all right.
Because
I'm not a big Lars guy.
I was watching some YouTube videos and they were talking about how like if Braun Strowman does move up to the, I know that he's like technically in the main, like he's been in like the main feuds and stuff like that, but he's still kind of a mid-carder. Like he's kind of floundering like in the he's for the tag team titles now.
Yeah.
And so it's like Lars can serve as his understudy, and like once Braun Strowman goes past that point to like actually going for the Universal Championship, then it's like you can have Lars Sullivan screwing people up in the middle.
So then would you want to see Lars as his tag team partner maybe?
Yeah. No, yeah. I would
Yeah.
love to see Braun and Lars for a while, for a couple months. Like have them win the titles, like have them go on a Brothers of Destruction type of reign.
That'd be awesome.
That I would think that would be dope.
Yeah.
Because I know that they have Lars in that 6-man ladder match, but we've definitely seen before where people have wrestled on Takeover and then like
Yeah.
have also come over to a pay-per-view. So it's like
Yeah.
trying to think of any other NXT members, but other than that, I mean, I agree with Ember Moon. Like you guys know that I think that it'll be Ember Moon breaking Asuka's streak next year at
I
Mania.
absolutely agree. 110%.
Yeah, the Iconic Duo. I think it's their time.
It's past their time. They need to go up now.
I would honestly love if they created a stable with Carmella.
That'd be interesting.
Maybe.
Annoying as hell, though.
I would rather
Exactly.
see Peyton Royce like as a single star though,
I would
agree
love
with
that.
and then have Billie Kay be her manager, because like the only thing we've seen from them in recent months that I can think of is Peyton Royce as a single star. Like I can't, like they haven't done anything together like as a tag team in a while. I don't think. Because we had Peyton Royce in that 4-way for the title match, and like she's been in the picture, the title picture. So it's like, just keep her going. Like keep her going with that heat. I think Sanity for sure.
You think so?
Definitely. Yeah, I think it's their time.
I'm worried that they're not going to have anything to do.
You know what I would like
Yeah.
to see?
Stable warfare.
Stable
I know you love
warfare
that.
between Sanity and Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. That whole like, because I think that they are gonna bring back. Did you see the? Did you guys see the house show thing with Bray and Matt?
Yes.
I saw a picture of it. I didn't
Yes.
see what happened.
So they had a match at a live event. So this was after the Ultimate Deletion happened. They had a live event match, and after the match, Bray hugged Matt, and then turned it into a Sister Abigail, and then Matt turned it into a Twist of Fate. So I don't know if they're trying to like tease that they are going to be a tag, or if they are just trying to like tease us smarks that like, oh yeah, you guys like read stuff on the internet and you guys think that Bray and Matt are going to be a team, but they're not. So it's like, I would love to see that though. I would love to see the Hardys and Bray against Sanity. I think that'd be awesome.
Plus, then you have the club, and you have the Shield still technically on Raw.
Faction warfare
Yeah.
in WWE.
Yeah.
Japan does it incredibly well.
This isn't Japan.
Yeah.
It makes, I've said this before on the podcast, it makes logical sense that you would have friends in WWE. It's not like everybody can be Baron Corbin Lone Wolf. And then it makes, then it makes the people that are like, oh yeah, I'm going on my own. It makes them seem more significant than like, oh crap, they're going on their own? What?
See, I
Wow.
agree. Like, you make great points, but I don't give them that kind of credit to book that or to create that.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I'm saying,
Yeah.
no.
Dream. fantasy.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
I was going to say
but-
85 to
Fantasy
90%
booking.
of the stuff that I talk about WWE,
Yeah.
it's like I don't give them enough credit to book it that.
No.
And I don't want to say smartly because like I know that it's incredibly hard to do creative, but it's like some of the stuff is just like common sense.
Yeah.
Common sense stuff.
But that's where they get you.
It's not common.
Yeah, because it's not common.
AOP, I'm still like,
Those two are both really young too, so those two could have the same arc as Dream, where they stick around for a while.
and I think,
No problem.
I think honestly, what I think they'll do is bring War Machine into the fold against AOP, and then have them go over AOP, and then bring AOP up to go up against like the Bludgeon Brothers or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that'd be, I mean, those are two feuds that I would love to
That'd
see.
be awesome.
Because like I've been telling you guys about War Machine forever, and like waiting for NXT to sign them.
So they have War Machine and Heavy Machinery now, both.
Yeah.
They have 2 machines in
Two
NXT.
machines.
Wow.
The rigs.
There's only one rig, and he's sitting right here.
Oh my
Okay,
good,
John.
Oh my good gravy.
Great.
What about the other question that I asked you guys? That was a good segment there with the NXT call-ups. I'm hoping for another good segment with this Superstar Shakeup. As we saw last year with Mania, did it happen the year before or no? Because there was no brand split. So we're probably most likely going to be seeing another Superstar Shakeup. It looks like Asuka's probably going to be fully commenced and fully brought into the WWE fold with her win over Charlotte. And so we'll more than likely see Asuka going over to SmackDown. What are some other picks that you guys have switching sides?
Let me say what I don't want to happen first. I don't want them to purge SmackDown again and load up Raw, waste all the talent, and then make SmackDown the B show. If that happens again, then this is just a total wash.
Yeah.
But as far as changes, I want to see the Shield have a second shot at a reunion. So I want to see them split up, but also I want them to stay together.
Not to completely switch, but did you see the stuff with Dean Ambrose too?
What?
They're taking him completely out of any access.
Yeah.
Like they're taking him off of all dates.
If that could be a sign of him Swerve returning Sunday.
I'm also
at
wondering
Mania,
if
or
they're
he's
just
actually
doing
hurt.
that because he was supposed to be out for 9 months, and we're only 3 or 4 months into that.
Yeah.
And so I know that some of the rumors were like, well, they're just taking him off so like he doesn't have to do anything and he actually has time to rest and like time to, because like
That'd be great too.
while it's not wrestling, it's still grueling to like talking to fans all day, like all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know what place he would have because like Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins are so completely different on the card.
Yeah.
That it's like
that's the problem that I have.
It's like I don't know what they would do possibly with that. But yeah, a Shield reunion would be dope.
Yeah, I would love to see Shield and Balor Club tear it up on Raw if they both get healthy and they both get booked right. And then eventually that can lead to a Shield split up and then Dean and Seth can feud over the mid-card title or whatever. But
That'd be awesome.
And then maybe like that feud gets so bloody, so angry, so hateful that one of them has to change to SmackDown because it's just ruining the whole show. Kind of like Sami and Kevin did last year. But other than that, I don't really have anyone who I would... I think Orton's going to go to Raw.
I have that too.
Because I personally, I see a lot of the younger Raw guys going to SmackDown. So Raw needs the star power to have Orton on the main show. John Cena's still a free agent, so he can go back and forth however he wants. I don't even know who else, honestly. It was such a crapshoot last year where they're just showing up on the shows instead of actually announcing it. So I
wish they would have
no
a draft
guessing.
like they did last or the like way back when.
That'd be awesome. Have like maybe like 5 or 6 guys that are untouchable. Everyone else is fair game. Like and then just do like a snake draft 1-to-1. That'd be cool. But I don't know. Do you guys have any other picks?
I have my list, but Damien, go ahead.
I had Randy to Raw. I had Seth to SmackDown. But, I mean, I would like to see a Shield reunion, too. But I feel like SmackDown needs some more star power, so bring Seth over. And that would... I want to see AJ go to Raw, but like we said before, AJ's more of a wrestler, and that's kind of what SmackDown is. Mm-hmm. And AJ's... he would be a good entertainer, but like I said, he's a wrestler, so I would like to see him go to Raw, but it probably won't happen. Becky to Raw, Charlotte to Raw, and then Sasha to SmackDown, and then Miz to SmackDown, so we can see Miz versus Daniel. And that's all I have for that.
Yeah, I like it. What do you think?
I agree with AJ Styles. I've read rumors that it'll be him going to Raw, but it would make more sense to keep him on SmackDown, especially since the whole thing is the house that AJ Styles built. I think Carmella's going to go to Raw, but that also plays into my hoping that she cashes in for the Raw Women's Championship. Asuka SmackDown, obviously. Miz and Miz Taraj to SmackDown. Because I think the Miz Taraj is a good thing. I personally like it. It builds more heat, gives them like a diverse stable, whatever you want to call it. Gives them a chance to feud with Bryan, whatever. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, I'm hypothesizing that they are going to lose the stipulation match, so they're gonna show up on Raw.
That'd be cool.
And then I personally would love to see The Bar move to SmackDown.
That'd be really good.
That would be good.
Feud with the Usos.
Yeah.
Usos.
And then
Usos.
Ooses. The Ooses.
Hey, Oos.
See, one of my things with like a Superstar Shakeup is a lot of those names that we're throwing out that just happened last year, and so it's like I don't want them to just like boom 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 like every year. So I don't know. I was thinking some mid-carders from SmackDown to Raw, like maybe like Jinder or Bobby Roode.
He's hoping that SmackDown gets better by getting rid of the dead weight.
I kind of hope so. I could definitely see Bobby Roode going to Raw.
Bobby just needs a turn. Yeah, I could see him going to Raw, but he just needs a turn. He's not a bad talent like Jinder is. He just needs a change of direction.
Jinder's not terrible.
Don't even.
I've seen worse.
Can't wrestle. His character is the worst kind of heat that you don't want. He needs to change or leave.
He's just so clunky.
Yes. AJ could barely get a good match out of him. That's saying something.
The back
No,
knee.
AJ got a good match out of him.
Barely.
Trying his hardest, he did. Bobby Roode can't get that out of him. Orton can't get that out of him. Rusev can't get
Orton
that out of him.
doesn't give a woo.
Because he doesn't want to. After having to
doesn't
job
back
to him for an
knee.
entire summer.
Orton doesn't give a Ric
Back
Flair
knee.
woo.
Yeah, he's probably trying to avoid that back knee.
He doesn't want to touch him.
Back
Yeah.
rash. Yeah, I could see Bobby over to Raw. I do hope that they continue SmackDown being the more of the wrestling brand out of the two, since they are going to keep NXT as a developmental type of deal. But I can't plausibly see a lot because it looks like SmackDown's tag team division. It looks like both tag team divisions on either side aren't that hot. And so, like, I can't think of them moving them around without kind of screwing up things. And, like, yeah, they could call up people, but, like, not everybody who watches Raw and SmackDown watches NXT. And so, like, they're not going to know who those guys are. So it's like, you have to build them up a little bit. So I don't know about any of those. I'll agree with Asuka and Charlotte. And I like Sasha Banks over to SmackDown as well. But I don't know if that'll happen yet because I think they are going to do the... I think they're going to pull the trigger on Bayley, and I think that'll be a... I'm even wondering if that'll be a SummerSlam main event match. Sasha and Bayley. I think it could.
It definitely could be.
I
also said, with people returning from injury, move Big Cass over to SmackDown, potentially.
That'd be cool.
And then have... This is solely because I miss him, have Neville go to SmackDown.
Quit fantasy booking Neville. You make me bummed out every single time.
Like Neville and Braun Strowman.
Yeah,
Do you
stop.
think I am not bummed out about it?
I didn't want to think about him because I know he's not going to come back. I know he's going to leave, and I know he's going to go to Japan or wherever else. I can't handle it.
And I'm going to subscribe to it.
Yeah.
To New Japan World. Man, that was hard to subscribe to New Japan World.
All those emails that you couldn't read because they were all in Japanese.
I couldn't read them. I couldn't even buy it because I had to call my bank.
Oh, I didn't have that problem, but just the emails were obnoxious to me.
I had to call my bank and unlock international
And then I couldn't watch it because it was so laggy.
And then I felt
loading.
kind of weird, like saying, "Oh yeah, can I get my card unlocked so I can buy stuff from Japan?" I just felt like maybe
it's wrestling. It's fine.
Maybe they maybe they thought I was gonna be a weeb or something like that and like start buying.
Get a body pillow.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh yes. Nick, I wanted to answer your question of the week last week.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I am most excited for Daniel Bryan and Finn Balor. I've been watching a lot of videos that have been comparing Daniel Bryan to his mentor and his teacher, Shawn Michaels, and the fact that, like, yes, they both had incredible careers before they were injured, and then they got injured, and then, like, Shawn Michaels arguably, I don't even know if it's arguably at this point, had a much better career, his second wind.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm hoping that happens with Daniel Bryan, too. We saw tonight that he's tired of being a general manager. He's tired of the stupid blazer.
Or a cardigan or whatever it is.
It's definitely a cardigan, Daniel Bryan. So I really hope that's the case. I hope that they do. And I hope that they see, finally, what Daniel Bryan can accomplish. Because, like, they've always dogged on him. So it's like, maybe they'll put him with Finn Balor. And they'll have an incredible feud. And then there are so many incredible feuds that they can do. The Miz is going to be an awesome feud. I mean, think about any of the wrestlers that like we've been talking about. AJ, that'd be a great match. Even Aleister Black, that'd be a cool match to see. So it's like, yeah. Those are some of the dream matches that I'd like to see with Daniel Bryan. I know that he's old, though, still. Like, Daniel Bryan's getting up there in age. Isn't he, like, 38?
I don't know.
I don't.
Probably
Mid-30s at
know.
the absolute most,
Hold
I
on.
think.
Let me Google it.
I'm thinking 35 to 38. I'm thinking that's the
Yeah, I'm
age
thinking like
range.
36, maybe.
So he's getting up there. I mean, we see
Yeah.
what AJ Styles
But even
can
then,
do.
yeah.
I mean,
if
even
AJ
Finn's
Cena can
pretty
go at
old.
40.
Well, Finn's old. He's like
Yeah.
34.
He's like he's
35.
like he's old, yeah. He's up there too.
He doesn't look it, though. He looks 25.
He's 36.
36.
I called it.
Ah.
Nice.
Not, what was that?
Kind of like
I love you.
I love you, but too
Yeah.
sweet.
Too sweet, yeah. So, Nick, what's your question of the week this week?
All right. In the United States, there is a sculpture, monument, created in 1920-something, 1920s, in South Dakota. Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore depicts
Oh.
4 faces of that embody U.S. history, and they make up basically what it means to be American, what it means to be United States history. Now, if you were to make a Mount Rushmore for WWE, who would be on it? For me, it's simple because I personally, I've never been a big fan of Undertaker or anything like that, so I don't have him on mine. But for me, it's easy.
John.
Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold, The Rock, John Cena.
Nick
Hands down, those 4.
took the words right out of my
You
mouth.
could make a case for Undertaker and for Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart maybe, Ric Flair, but those 4 to me are the closest thing you have to creating the company from the ground up and like making it what it is, and also crossing over into mainstream. Those 4 are household names.
Man, I would have... Definitely Hulk Hogan is on there, 100%. He's an awful person.
Terrible person.
Terrible
Garbage.
person. But I cannot deny what he's done for this business. So Hulk Hogan is definitely up there. Man, he's playing them drums, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
He's
I don't know if
getting
y'all can hear that, but he's playing them drums. I think John Cena's definitely on there too. I don't think there's an argument
Gotta
there
be.
as well. He's been doing it for 15 years now or so.
At least.
And he's still top of his game. We were still talking last year about him having arguably the match of WWE's year with AJ Styles. And it just seems like he's getting better. So it's like John Cena's got to be up there. I think Ric Flair would be up there.
I think so.
I personally, I like Ric Flair as a character and as a personality, but like as a wrestler, it's like I kind of like him. He's kind
Yeah.
of up there with my I understand that he's good and stuff like that, but I've never I like his personality more than his wrestling. But I think he'd have to be up there, and then I would say Ric Flair and Undertaker are interchangeable for me.
You didn't put The Rock or Stone Cold? Oh.
Interchangeable.
Okay, interchangeable,
And
okay.
then I think The Rock and Stone Cold would also be
You
interchangeable.
gotta pick one. This is the question. You gotta pick one. 4 names
Stone Cold.
only. Stone Cold and Ric Flair?
Yeah.
Or Stone Cold and Taker?
Oh! Taker's got to be up there. Everybody knows who Undertaker is.
That's
Okay.
true. I can attest.
All right.
All right, I'm going Hogan, Taker, Stone Cold, and John Cena.
All right. You agree with my
Yeah,
argument?
I agree with you.
Okay, so me and Damien are the same. Kelly. Welcome to the Four Corners podcast.
Well, obviously, I didn't grow up watching wrestling, so
I think that gives us a good perspective, though, because this
Yeah.
is just the 4 biggest names that made the company. So, to you, what are the 4 biggest names you can think of? Go.
Okay.
Top of your head.
Then I have to go Hogan, Undertaker, Rock, Cena.
All right.
Because I was like, I know, like, my dad was a fan of Hulk Hogan back when he was, like, a kind of not garbage person.
I think everybody was. I think
yeah.
it's fair.
Yeah.
I don't think there was anybody that didn't like Hogan.
And it was, like you said, I grew up, I obviously know who he is, knew who he was even as a child. Undertaker, that was a household name. Like, obviously one of the biggest personalities in WWE history. And then, obviously, Rock and Cena, just because of what they've done for the country for the country. Wow.
You're right.
Yeah.
Rock
this
2020.
vote.
What they've done for the company, and then, as you said, crossing it over into mainstream. That way it's not like, oh, he's that guy who, like, was in wrestling and then now is in movies. Like, it's kind of like, oh, they did both and they made it what it is today, and now it's not, like, weird, quote unquote, to enjoy wrestling.
I'm curious as to the Rock and Stone Cold debate, because it's like, yeah, The Rock transitioned into movie star in, like, Hollywood.
Yeah.
I think if Stone Cold didn't get injured, this is kind of like a thing of like, oh, if that rapper didn't die, like if the rapper didn't get shot, like if Tupac
Who killed Tupac and Biggie?
Yeah, if Tupac didn't die, then like where would he be now? I think Stone Cold, because I don't see Stone Cold acting in the way that The Rock does, because The Rock is just a ball of charisma. So I think if Stone Cold didn't get injured, I think this would be an easier thing. So
and also, piggybacking off that, Rock's becoming more known as the actor than he is the wrestler.
actor.
Yeah.
So
you know
it makes more sense to have.
In my
Stone
screenwriting
Cold.
class, we were talking about The Rock, and like people were like, "Yeah, The Rock was in this movie," and like he was just playing The Rock, like that's who he was, and like I was just in the corner, like pipsqueaking, like he was a wrestler. That's where he got his start.
Famous.
So yeah, I think that's why I would put Stone Cold on my Mount Rushmore instead. And like with the Taker argument, it's like, I don't know if you were thinking Mount Rushmore of wrestlers, because that's a whole different other type of deal. But Mount Rushmore of WWE, look at the Dead Man. He's the Dead Man. You know what I mean? He is literally a character.
Yeah.
That character would not work now.
God, no.
I mean, it does work now, but it's because
It
he's
works
the
if you
Undertaker.
tweak it, yeah.
So I think that's why I would put him on my thing.
Okay.
So yeah.
And before we move on, I'm going to go ahead and introduce next week's question because it's kind of loaded. And it's the go home for WrestleMania, so I want it to be a big question.
Oh.
I'm going to say, what is your top 5 WrestleMania moments of all time? Moments being matches, entrances, segments, whatever you want. Top 5 moments.
I already have a few, but we'll save it.
Okay. Take a week, stew on it, think about it.
Send me a text so I can.
Go watch all the WrestleManias ever produced.
I mean,
Do your homework, everybody.
I've watched like 12 through 15 in the last 2 weeks. So
Like for me personally, just a heads up, I'm gonna do only WrestleManias that I've witnessed personally. So 26 through now. I'm not gonna go back in the history of it because that's too many moments.
I'm
for
gonna
me.
go back in history.
Like,
I
that's
mean-
fine. That's fine. You can do it however you
I
want.
was about to say,
but
I
I'm gonna
can-
stick to 26 through 33.
I can choose 5 moments from
I mean,
last year's
I can
WrestleMania.
choose basically from what I remember 20 through 33.
However you want to do it, just have 5 prepared for next week.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
I love homework.
yeah, I love home. I
Oh,
love
I
homework
already
too
have a
because
lot of
I'm
stuff to
loaded with
do.
it. It is coming crashing down and it hurts inside. So
Stop.
that was so funny and it deserves so much more clout. But that is gonna do it for this week's episode. We are gonna go ahead and do our finishers. Nikki boy, Damien boy.
Well, speaking of, Hulk Hogan, I'll go with Hulk Hogan as my finisher this week. Hulk Hogan is a terrible human being.
I think
Like-
we've established that.
Terrible.
Garbage.
Just
He's done some bad things.
terrible. But
But
he is wrestling. Like, when you think about wrestling, Hulk Hogan comes to mind. And I want to see him come back. My family hates Hulk Hogan, but like always as a kid, like Hulk Hogan was cool to see because he came back, and it just brought the past, and one of my favorite moments was Rock versus Hogan, but it's not top 5, Nick, so
You don't
that
think so?
doesn't put it in my top 5 Mania moments, but I would just like to see Hogan come back in some type of way. Maybe not in a large part, but if we get to see him ever so often, WrestleMania time, a couple Raws here and there, it'd be good, and it would draw in a little bit more viewers, like the older folks. That's about it.
Bailey.
Well, do you have one, Nick?
I got one.
Okay. Cool.
I'm back on Daniel Bryan again.
Back him up.
I'm wondering if the Shane being his partner thing is going to be a work, and next week he's like, oh, sorry, he's not ready. I got to do this alone. And then we have the Daniel Bryan versus the Odds in New Orleans once again. It doesn't have to be a triple threat. You can do 2-on-1, kind of like they did with AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And then just have the same stipulations involved and have Daniel either overcome the Odds or whatever. Maybe Shane comes out just to appear and distract them. And then
I don't know why I never thought about that.
Or even, it would be cool to see a triple threat and then tweak the stipulation a little bit, where if Kevin or Sami wins, then that person is reinstated. The other can't. So that way it's not just like a gang up on Daniel the entire time.
That's dope. Nick for creative.
Spitfiring. Spitballing.
Spitfiring.
Spitfiring.
Kelly?
I am also gonna go with the Daniel Bryan on this one, but not in the same way. I didn't get to watch Daniel Bryan, obviously, when he was in his prime, or I guess not prime, but during his first run. So being able to be reintroduced to someone that I personally enjoy watching older matches of, and like being able to see his next chapter as a wrestler is really exciting and kind of uplifting. And it's like, oh, like if he can do it, like maybe this opens the door for other wrestlers who may have had serious injuries, like Paige overcome.
Chris Benoit?
Stop it! Stop! No. Stop.
I agree, Kelly.
That was bad.
But yeah, like it could open the door for a lot of these wrestlers who had career-ending injuries to come back with the proper care and determination. So, in other words, I'm excited for Daniel Bryan's future.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Fight for your dreams and they will fight for you.
I think this is kind of going back to like me thinking that this WrestleMania would probably be the second best WrestleMania put on.
Ever?
I think, and this might be a little underwhelming because I know you guys don't care. I don't really care either, but I think we're going to see another 5-star match from WWE, from Dave Meltzer, from WrestleMania weekend. Either AJ and Shinsuke, which is probably my top choice for a 5-star match. Especially if they just let them do their thing. If WWE gets their gritty hands off of that match, it just like lets them do what they do best. I think there are other choices for. I could totally see Almas and Black, like Almas getting another 5-star match. Yeah. I literally could see that, because I mean I like Black more than I like Gargano personally. I could even see it with the women's match, the Asuka and Charlotte. I could even see that being WWE's first 5-star women's match.
It's going to be so good.
I could see that. I think there are a lot of opportunities for a 5-star match, and I think that it can happen again this week. Or not this week, next weekend. Oh, next weekend! Okay. Well, that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Four Corners Podcast. Make sure that you follow us on all of our social media, our Facebook, our Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube. And from everyone here at the Four Corners Podcast featuring Kelly, have a good night.